Hi guys, Jen Roque here from StampCampWithJen.com. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Summerfield, Florida, and welcome to my weekly Facebook Live. I hope you guys had a great weekend. We did. It was very busy. We went to Universal Studios yesterday. It's really crazy how everything's changing with all the CDC guidance. They're letting people walk around without masks now down here. It depends, but at Universal, they were letting people walk around outside without a mask, but once you went on the rides, you had to put them on. So it's kind of nice to know that things are finally starting to relax and getting better, so that's good. What'd you guys do this weekend? Did you guys have a good time? Anything relaxing? Anything fun? As you join, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're viewing from. Today we're going to have a fun project. I am featuring a new bundle, the Flowers of Friendship bundle. I'm going to show you a couple different cool things that you can do with it. It's actually really versatile. You can do a lot with it. So we're going to make a card, and I'm going to explain a couple things that you can do with this great bundle. So don't forget, right now the Join Plus promotion is going on through the end of the month. So if you'd like to join my team, you can get $155 worth of Stampin' Up! Products for only $99, and that's free shipping and some business supplies. It's really a great way to get a great discount on Stampin' Up! Items. My team members, we do a lot of like challenges. We try to get together in person if we can. It's really a great time. So hi Melinda, welcome. Thank you for joining me from Pennsylvania. Is it chilly up there? I have a friend up in Pennsylvania that she told me a couple weeks ago they got snow, and I couldn't believe it. We're in May now. It shouldn't be snowing. Good morning, Sue. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around, and I'm going to show you what we're making. Okay, so give me 1 second. And, oh, it's getting nicer. That's good, Melinda. Here, let's see my wall. And then, okay, so we're going to make this card today with the Flowers of Friendship bundle. So this is a great bundle. It's a punch bundle, which I love. So you get this punch. It punches out these 2 flowers and 2 leaves. And then it's a cling stamp set, so not clear. It's that red rubber. But it's got a lot of really great sentiments and flowers on it. This one, I've seen people use the Stamparatus and make like a background stamp with it. So I'm going to show you a few things with that, okay? So for this card, I actually punched out flowers and cut them apart and glued them over this stamp. And I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? So first, I want to share this cool tip that I got from another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Her name is Emma Goddard. I was watching a video of hers the other day, and she showed a kind of an easy way. It's not as easy as she made it sound, but when you have these punches that have multiple images on them, and you think, how am I gonna line everything up so I can punch everything all at once? So if you take your punch and you take a piece of basic white, or it could be any cardstock really, but we're going to use this basic white here. So you punch out the images for your template, and I already have them on a block, but I'm just going to take them all off to kind of show you how to line it up. So you take that punch off, or you punch your template, and then you're going to take your stamps and you're going to line them up in these little grooves where you punched. And that is how you can line them up to get them where they need to go to punch out. So with these flowers, you have to be kind of mindful of the petals because they're not all the same. They're not all exactly the same. So there is a specific way that they should go, but you'll kind of feel when it kind of locks in, when it slides in place, because if you wiggle the stamp, it won't really move outside of a certain spot. It'll kind of fit snugly where it should in there. So get the flowers in there, make sure kind of have it where it should be. Like I said, you'll feel it kind of slide into place there. And these flowers, I mean, they're all really going to be kind of close together when they're in place. So then we just take this as a D-size block, and we just take it and place it on top, and that's how you get your template. Now, to make sure that they're in place, you just flip your template over and line it up, and that actually went pretty well. It was a lot, it wasn't lined up as nicely as I did it before, but if you can see it, I'm gonna move it up here so you can see it. So if you flip your template over and lay it on top of your stamps, they should all line up pretty well over the top of the stamp, and that's how you know you have it lined up like you need to. So now we can take, I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna take a piece of paper. I'm just gonna show you. So we're gonna take some Memento ink, and I'm gonna ink everything up, and I'm just gonna stamp it. And now when we flip this over and you line your paper up, everything is lined up in your stamp or in your little template there, and you can ideally punch it off. Now mine aren't completely lined up. It looks like maybe a couple of them need to move, but it's pretty close. And I just stamped all those at one time. So that is how you can do it. Now you see my flower's a little off, so maybe I need to adjust that. And I can just come back in, because you see my flower, it punched, but I have all this white on the side. So now if I want to fix it, I can just come in here, and that was the little flower on the bottom there. I could kind of move it over a little bit. I kind of find too, if you do need to adjust them, if you just take one of the stamps off, you lay your template down and then kind of hold the stamp underneath and press it down. That kind of works pretty well to get it in place too, sort of. It's kind of a pain to do it that way though, so you really want to try to lay it down and get it in as best you can. That's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to show you with this card. So you can take these flowers. I'm going to punch out. I used fresh freesia and polished pink, and the polished pink was what I punched out before, but for this one I think I'm just going to use some Coastal Cabana, and I'm really only going to worry about inking up the flowers for right now, because those are what I'm going to punch out. And just going to stamp those down, and I'm going to come down here and punch up my flowers. They're still not really lined up like I like them, but like I said, for that you just really got to play around with it. It's not as easy as she made it sound, but that's the best way to stamp everything and not have a bunch of waste. So for these flowers, you can layer them on top of each other like so. You could even stamp or punch out flowers. You don't even have to stamp them. And like we'll punch out another big one, and you could put 2 big flowers and a little flower, and that's a nice little cluster there of flowers as well. So for these little flowers, all I did was I took so you can take this, the big flower actually fits these 2 on the top here, and then these little flowers go on this side one. So all you would do is you just cut the flower in half and then cut those petals in half again. So you're just cutting your flower into 4ths, and then you'll just line up where the flowers go. based off of the stamp. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So we are going to take, I have a piece of basic white. This is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of basic black that we're just going to layer it on top. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I'm going to use a fresh freesia base. This is one of the new ink colors. It's very, very pretty. And so this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I just scored it and folded it in half for my card base. So yes, it does save a lot of time too. Like I said, you kind of got to play with it a little bit to get it exactly right. But once you do, it comes out really great. So we're going to use this little flower stamp here, and we're just going to stamp. So on the left side, I'm going to stamp it pretty much the whole stamp all the way on top of the basic white there. And then for my next stamp, my next image, I'm going to move it over, and I'm really just trying to get it down just a little bit, maybe the top half of the stamp there. So see, so I have 2 of these clusters of flowers now. So for the fresh freesia, I just colored that one in. So what I like to do with these is I like to take, first we're going to use Old Olive for the leaves. And what I like to do is I like to take the bullet tip point and just for the darker blend, and I like to go over the veins of the leaves and usually the little base of the leaf as well, just to kind of give it some more dimension and color. But it doesn't have to be anything too perfect here. And then I go over with the lighter Old Olive, and you can use whatever, if you feel more comfortable with the brush or the bullet tip, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then we just color over. I usually color in the white first and then color over the darker portion just to blend everything in and get that dark blending in there. Actually, I'm going to use the bullet to make sure I don't color out the lines. So this stamp set is really neat. They actually featured it at On Tour, which is our Stampin' Up! Training that we have in the springtime, and it's usually localized to different areas. So like we have a southeast area, and I got to virtually talk to other demonstrators in Florida, which I thought was really fun. And it's more like business focused, where you try to like learn different sales tips and stuff, which is fine. But I think anytime I do training with Stampin' Up, my favorite part is the stamping demonstrations. It's like watching, you know, like a Facebook Live and somebody showing you how to use new products for the first time, and I always really enjoy that. So all right, so now we're going to do the fresh freesia, and I'm just going to color this little cluster over here. So again, I'm going to start with a darker blend. This is fresh freesia that I'm using, and I'm just going to use my bullet tip point here to color the little lines on the flowers. I'm just going over those, nothing too fancy. I know some people get really intimidated by coloring, but it really doesn't have to be real complicated. You just are just adding color to your image. And then, like I said, we just, for the most part, color in the white first. And then we go over the darker blend to kind of lift that color and blend it all together. Yeah, some people do not enjoy coloring, and I don't know, to me it's very relaxing. So I could color all day as long as my markers have ink in them and I have time. I can just sit here and kind of get lost in my thoughts and color, and I'd be super happy. Reminds you of like when you're a kid. I used to always enjoy getting coloring books and just sitting there with crayons and coloring, and I always loved it. Okay, so that's all the coloring. So now, like I said, we have these flowers. We cut one of them down already. So if you look at the petals, you can kind of match them up And I think I'm going to restamp this one because this is not looking how I want it to look. I'm going to stamp 2 of the bigger flowers, and I'm just going to take these other ones off because they're really not lined up like I want them to be. But like I said, try that tip. I fiddled with it for a little bit and I was able to get it lined up. And if you can do that, it really is a great way to save time if you're going to make a lot of these flowers. The card that Emma made was gorgeous. She made a little like a wreath out of the flowers. It's very pretty. So I stamped them just far enough apart, and the leaves are towards the bottom, so it's not going to cut off anything. So I always flip my punches over just so I can see everything and try to line it up as best I can. This is just, I'm just using Coastal Cabana scrap that I have, so I'm not too concerned about wasting the edges or anything like that. I have a ton of it left over from a project that I did, so it's actually piling up all these little pieces. So all right, so like I said, now we can cut our flowers, and we're just gonna cut it in half and then cut those petals apart, and then cut these 2 in half. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to kind of line them up. You're only going to need 3 out of the 4 for each of these bunches. And these 2 on the left use the larger flower, and this one uses the smaller flower. So looking at the petals, I can kind of figure out, okay, this one kind of lines up with that one. This one looks like it lines up with this one. And this one looks like it probably goes in the middle. So I like to just kind of leave them off to the side, and then when you cut them, you may need to kind of round the edges a little bit before you glue them, just so they look nice on the side there. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of liquid glue here, just a small amount. Hi Mary Ellen, welcome. This is a beautiful set. I love punch bundles because I feel like punches are so much faster. I'm very impatient, so if I can find a punch bundle, I'm all about it. I would much rather sit there and punch a bunch of stuff out in 2 seconds than have to take my die cutting machine out. If I can avoid it, I will. Now don't get me wrong, I love die cutting because we have a lot of great dies and they're very pretty, but just cranking the die handle over and over again, it's so time consuming to me. I probably should get like an electric die cutter, but I don't know. I just haven't yet. So there. So there's one. So now you'll kind of see, so you can see the little, the center from the flowers, and how we're going to hide that is I'm going to take some matte black dots and the little putty tool, and we're going to add those after we're done. But I don't want to do that just yet because when I glue everything down, when I attach the card together, it makes it easier to adhere it if I don't have bulky gems or anything sticking up. Actually, I might try gems this time instead of the matte black dots. The matte black dots are what I did in the first one. I want to try the gems this time and see. So now we're working on this flower. And again, so that looks like it's the center. This can probably go on the side there. And then maybe that one on the side. So line those up and use some more liquid glue. Oh, and I'm gonna trim my one edge here. But I just think, like I said, this was so neat when they showed it at on tour. I thought it was really cool. I think it's so funny how, you know, you look at a set and go, I don't know, it's okay. And then somebody demonstrates something and you go, okay, maybe I need to buy it now. because you don't really see exactly all of the things you can do, and then somebody demonstrates it and you realize the potential of that set. Sometimes it's a little hard to see just at first glance. So that's why I really like to watch demonstrations, because people find crazy ways and amazing ways to do these things. I'm always shocked by how creative people are. I think it's fantastic. All right, so there's the two big ones. So now we're going to move on to our little flower here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to cut that in half and cut each of the halves in half. And then we're going to line everything up here. So which ones go? Maybe that one on the side, this one in the middle, and this one on the side. Okay. I'm just trimming my edges to make them line up. Okay. Just gluing that down. We're almost done. I don't think I needed that piece. And this card, really, this is the most time-consuming part, is piecing all of these petals together. But once you do it, it's kind of a cool wow factor. And then these flowers, there's so many different ways to color them. So you could just punch them out without stamping onto colored cardstock. You can color them with stamping blends, watercolor pencils. You could use a little sponge dauber and just daub the center there. That's another way. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. All right, so now what we're gonna do, this is kind of drying a little bit, so I'm gonna use the sentiment from this card is life is better with friends like you, and we're just gonna take that little corner up here that's blank, and we're just gonna fill it in with that sentiment right there. So I'm gonna get my Memento ink and just stamp this up really good. And I'm gonna stamp that right onto the background. And now we're gonna take our Stampin' Seal and we are going to use the Stampin' Seal to adhere it to our basic black layer. I'm just gonna have the tiniest of a border all the way around. And then we have our fresh Freesia card base that we're gonna adhere that to, again, using Stampin' Seal. And this is, again, why you wanna wait to add your matte black dots or your rhinestones to the very end, because if you add those now and you flip it over and try to press that Stampin' Seal on, it's just, it kind of becomes like a bubbly mess. And I don't like trying to roll my Stampin' Seal over rhinestones or gems. All right, so I'm gonna use rhinestones this time. I think that'll be really pretty. I'm just using this putty end of my take your pick tool and picking up my rhinestones and just pressing them right in the middle there to cover up that center and kind of give it a little bit of a bling. And that's it for this card. So you can see this one I used the matte black dots and this one I used the rhinestones in the middle. I kind of like both of them actually. They're really pretty. So let me show you a couple other things you can do with this. So with these little leaves, you can actually make a flower out of these too. So I'm gonna punch a bunch of different color or a bunch of these shapes out. Let's see. Like I said, I have a bunch of scraps, so I'm just gonna grab some scraps and show you guys exactly what we're gonna do here. A bunch of scrap. I'm gonna punch maybe 4. Let's see, do I have another one? Yeah, oh perfect. And I'll flip this over. All right, so let me show you guys real quick. I have a piece of white here, so this will make it easy. So I just punched a bunch of flowers out, right? So like I said, you can take 2 of these big flowers. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna glue them together. And you could glue these to each other and then take a small flower and glue it in the middle. And it creates this nice cluster of flowers. Or you can take just the big and the small and glue those together. And you could stamp them, or you could just use the clusters by themselves. I've seen people use like gorgeous new shimmer vellum and stamp flowers out like that. That would be really pretty. Then you can take these leaves actually, and you can make a flower out of these leaves. And so you could take these, you know, maybe make them bigger, smaller, and kind of make a flower that way too. Oh, that's kind of, let's see, do I have any more leaves? I have the white leaves. So let me see if I can punch a couple more of these big leaves here. I needed 5 of them. So let's use all the big ones. So yeah, you can make a little flower this way. Fingers are getting sticky from all the glue. See, and now you have another flower right there. So really tons and tons of versatility with this. I could probably go on and share even more examples. I'll try to see if I can find the picture. Her name was Barb Mulliken from On Tour, and I'll share that on my Facebook page if you want to see, because she stamped out or punched out all the different flowers and like all the different variations, how you can color them and layer them and things like that. So I'll try to post that to my Facebook page today so you can see that as well. So I really hope that you enjoyed these cards that we made today. And if you need this set, please purchase them in my online store. My name is Jennifer Roque. You can find me on stampinup.com. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter at stampcampwithjen.com. Like and follow me on Facebook and subscribe to me on YouTube. And don't forget to hit that bell so you never miss a video. I will have the replay up on YouTube later today, and you'll be able to see it on Facebook. So if you need any of the supplies for this project, please purchase them through me. If you have any questions at all, you can always reach me at stampcampwithjen@gmail.com. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great week. Stay safe and happy stamping. Bye.